What's up guys, Manny from Motomillion, and this is the ultimate exhaust video for the Panigale V4 and the Streetfighter V4, where I cover the commonly asked questions about the exhaust systems and parts that are directly related to the exhaust systems of these bikes. So let's quickly get into it. What's the difference between a full exhaust and a slip-on these both bikes? This is the difference between your slip-on and your full exhaust system on these bikes. What am I holding? These are your header pipes. This is your front header pipe and this is your rear header pipes. This is the front bank and the rear bank. That's why we call them front header and rear header. And basically, unlike other bikes that are out there, most of the restriction on these bikes happen at the muffler box. And when you change your exhaust to the full exhaust system or to the slip-on, you delete the muffler box. The only difference is that the full exhaust systems will come with replacement header pipes, where the slip-ons don't come with the replacement header pipes. What does this mean? This means that over the years that we've been working on these bikes, and it goes all the way back to 2018, the difference of power between a full exhaust and a slip-on is very small compared to other bikes. What are we talking about? We're talking about, in reality, 3 to 4 horsepower. Now that we're talking about the pipes, what is the difference between stainless and titanium? Basically, the only difference between titanium and stainless are the materials that they're constructed from. One is constructed from stainless steel and the other one is in titanium. It has no difference in power. It's the weight of the products, and also a little difference in heat dissipation, where titanium dissipates heat a lot faster than the stainless steel pipes. And that's pretty much it. Next question, what are the differences between the brand names that are out there? And let me give you guys a little disclaimer before I run through the brand names. We handpick the products that we sell to you guys. If you're riding a motorcycle like this, they deserve only the best of the best and the highest quality ones that are out there. So that's why we offer what we offer to you guys, because we've handpicked them, we've tested them, and trust us, they're the best ones out there. But also, there's a lot of brand names out there and there's a lot of options out there because they're one of the most modified bikes out there, especially in terms of exhaust systems, because they sound amazing with an exhaust on it and not so amazing without an exhaust on there. So what are the brands that we offer? We have Akrapovic, Termignoni, Aero, and SC Project. And 3 of them have something in common. 3 are Italian and 1 is Slovenian. Let's start off with the Slovenian one. That's Akrapovic. Akrapovic is the Ducati Performance branded exhaust systems for these bikes now. What does that mean? You could only get them through your Ducati dealer network or your Ducati Performance dealer network. So what does that mean? It means that it comes with a peace of mind that you're going to get it through your dealer network and you're not going to have any headaches, and your dealer is going to be familiar with that exhaust system. And what does this Akrapovic offer? One of the most notable offerings is this new exhaust system that they came out this year. It's the high mount full titanium exhaust system. It is a crazy price. I know it's $8,200 as of this video, which is quite a bit of money for an exhaust system. It's up to you to decide if that's worth it or not. The exclusivity is there because the point of entry for that exhaust system is so high. But also, let's not forget, it's Akrapovic. It's one of the best exhaust brands that are out there. You know that a lot of R&D has gone out. Another question that we get about the high mount is, what's the difference between the high mount and the low mount full exhaust system for these bikes? The high mount makes a little more power than the low mount full system that Akrapovic offers, but the high mount is a little bit heavier. But I think for all of us that we really want this thing, I think it's the exclusivity that comes with it. But also, let's not forget, the previous generation, the 1299 Superleggera came with a high mount exhaust like this. We loved it, everybody loved it, and because it directly related to the World Superbike Ducatis that were running at the time. They had that exhaust system and we all wanted to have it. Now we have it. It's a little pricey, but it is what it is. And let's get to Termignoni. Now that we're talking about price, Termignoni and Aero are both great brand names, and Termignoni used to be the Ducati Performance branded exhaust out there. And if you guys have been around Ducatis long enough, you know that the Ducatax was associated with Termignoni. Now it's not anymore. It's a great thing because the slip-ons have a very, very affordable price and you're getting a lot of quality behind that Termignoni brand name that you get in, and you're not paying a lot of money for it. I think it's one of our favorites. As you know, our Motomillion Streetfighter V4 is running the slip-on. And we've shown you with Jerry Campisi that the difference between the full exhaust and the slip-on from Termignoni is 3 horsepower. And we're talking about the Akrapovic low mount full exhaust versus the slip-on from Termignoni. And that goes a long way to show you guys how great these exhaust systems are. It sounds fantastic. It's not the loudest thing out there, but I'm not going to kid you guys, it's not quiet. And I think if you guys think quiet, either don't get a Ducati or don't put an exhaust system on it, because they're not quiet. Even with the Termignoni, I think it's a very nice and subtle noise that it makes, but it's not as loud as the next options that we're going to talk about. But also, other than slip-ons, Termignoni offers a couple full exhaust systems. One of them is derived from the World Superbike that was running last year. This year it's kind of changed around because they keep changing to get better and better, because for them even 0.2 of a horsepower makes a difference. But I want to give you guys a disclaimer that World Superbike exhaust that you see right here, there is no way to run a fender eliminator kit on it. It's a race system. So if you want to run it on a street bike, you know, you guys have to decide that to see what you're going to do with your fender eliminator and also your turn signals at that point. But again, I'm not going to go through in details because it's a little touchy subject about looks. There's so many options, and I think we lay out all the best brands that are out there. You be your own judge of what suits your taste and go on from there, because I think all of them have some great offerings that are out there. And let's talk about Aero at this point, because we're talking about noise. Aero is another great Italian brand name out there. I think we've covered this on a BMW Ultimate Exhaust Guide video. If you guys don't know, they supply and they make the exhaust systems on Pagani automobiles. Which is another Italian manufacturer that makes some hypercars that are $4 or $5 million. That goes to show you how much of a high quality product that you're getting from them. And good news is it's at a very sensible price point, and they have two offerings in terms of slip-ons. One is a stainless and one is a titanium slip-on. The mufflers are all titanium on both of them. The only difference is those stainless pipes versus the titanium pipes. It sounds amazing. And I think in terms of noise level, it is a little noisier than the Termignoni options, but it's not as loud as the SC Projects. So if you want a louder end of the exhaust system that is not obscenely loud, I think Aero is a really good bet. But again, I think you should decide noise and looks, and you could go on from there. And the next exhaust system that I want to talk about is SC Project. They have a lot of offerings in terms of slip-ons and full systems. They used to be, not last year, I think the year before, on some of the World Superbike private teams that were running out there. It is also expensive exhaust system. And if you want that look, I think it's a great option. If you want to pay that much and if you want to be exclusive, it's going to be very exclusive as well, because that price point, it really brings on that exclusivity. But I want to tell you guys the main difference between the SC Project and every other brand that we talked about. SC Project is your obscenely loud friend. It's very loud. So if you want something that is very, very loud, SC Project has the right options for you. It's another Italian brand that is out there. It is come out with some of the very distinct muffler types that are out there that are available for these bikes. So now that we've covered all of our brand names out there, the next question is going to become, do I need a servo eliminator when I run any of these exhaust systems on my bike? I'm not going to answer this question as a yes or a no, because I'll answer this question in terms of the mapping and if you need an UpMap or a flash on these bikes. But if you're talking about servo eliminators are a band-aid option for these bikes. Unlike the BMWs or other brand names that are out there, Ducatis are very temperamental. If you change your exhaust system and just put a servo eliminator out there, you're only band-aiding the check engine light that you're not going to get. And also, let me put a disclaimer out there. If you already got a check engine light because you removed your muffler box because the servo is not there anymore, by putting that servo eliminator, you're not going to eliminate that light. You first have to get a diagnostic tool or take the bike to the dealer to clear that code, and then make sure once it's cleared, before you even start the bike, you have a servo eliminator out there. And that's all it does. It takes care of the check engine light. The bike runs okay. I don't think you're going to hurt the bike, but you're not going to enjoy the bike much, because even with the servo eliminators, without the mapping corrected on these bikes, since most of the restriction is in your muffler box and even with the slip-on, that you're changing a lot of the power characteristics of the bike. It's going to be a little temperamental, as I said, because at times of coming to a stop sign or a red light where you come to a stop, the bike may shut off. It might act up here and there in the power band. So that's the disclaimer. If you just want to go with the servo-eliminator until you decide what you want to do with the tune of the bike, I think it's only a band-aid option. Now we get to the question of software, mapping, UpMap, whatever you guys want to call it. Do you need a flash or a map for these bikes when you upgrade the exhaust system? And I'm very honest, guys. If you go watch our BMW exhaust guide video that we did, I told you guys on there that you kind of can get away without mapping. It's not the optimized thing to do, but it's not going to hurt the bike, or it's not going to take away a lot away from the enjoyment of the bike. But when we're talking about these Ducatis that we mentioned over here, I really think that you should get some mapping on there, because as I mentioned, if you don't get mapping and if you just get a servo-eliminator, the bike will stall, it won't run right. And when we get to the mapping, let's talk about what's out there. So if you get a Ducati Performance exhaust system from your dealer network or from the Ducati Performance dealer network in terms of the United States, it comes with the mapping. So what do? We take your VIN number, we get it registered with Ducati USA, you install your exhaust, you take it to the dealer, and when they connect it to their diagnostic computer, they'll see that there's an upgraded map available, and they'll map it. Everyone's happy. Maybe your dealer is not going to be happy because you didn't buy the exhaust system from them. But there's other options out there as well. So you might opt into getting the exhaust system but not use the Ducati Performance mapping that's available with the exhaust system that you purchased, because I think it could be optimized a little more. So this is when you get to the options of UpMap by Termignoni or your flashes by BrenTuning. And let's talk about the differences of them. So UpMap by Termignoni is an UpMap device that's available that you could map your bike from your mobile device, so your cell phone or your tablet. And there's a lot of options. So they offer mapping for pretty much any exhaust system that we mentioned over here. You could put your map on it. You don't have to go to a dealer. You could do it from your phone. But what's the difference between that and a BrenTuning? So the UpMap by Termignoni that you load from your phone, it doesn't get rid of the restrictions that's on the bike. So these are some of the restrictions that are the throttle and other electronic restrictions that these bikes have. UpMap just changes the mapping. It optimizes the mapping to make sure that the bike is running correctly for that exhaust that you opted in for. But if you want more power and to optimize what these bikes offer, then you have to flash it. And I don't recommend anything else other than BrenTuning that's out there. And that's if you want all of the restrictions off the bikes. And what are some of these restrictions? The throttle is restricted. And if you have one of the older models, so the SP2 doesn't have this, but the previous Panigale V4's first, second, and third gear, I believe, are torque limited. What does that mean? The bike will not deliver full torque ever in these gears, because it's just the way that they made the mapping for it. And again, UpMap won't get rid of this, but BrenTuning Flash will, and other restrictions that are embedded in the software of these bikes. And BrenTuning offers stage 1 and stage 2. The difference between them are the amount of restrictions they're able to remove with these stages. To be honest, if you're going for the full power, stage 1 and stage 2 are both good options. You decide exactly if you want the highest power possible, or if you're okay with getting some of the restrictions off the bike, and you're going to be very happy. But for most of you guys that are out there, the Termignoni UpMap device has been very popular because of its ease of use. And if you guys want to see how easy it is to install the UpMap and map your bike, we have a really good video out there. So now that I widely covered the mapping, let's talk about Euro 4 or Euro 5, because that's the next question that's going to come up. So what is Euro 4 and Euro 5? Euro 4 and Euro 5 are exhaust standards that was onset by governments that are out there, and that's all it is. But we determine the plugs that are on these bikes by Euro 4 or Euro 5. And if you take a look, this is what the Euro 4 plug looks like, and this is what the Euro 5 plug looks like. And it basically is the plug that's the diagnostic plug on your bike that has the interface between the device that you're using, if it's your BrenTuning handheld, or your UpMap device that you're using, that you have to know what plug that it's using. It's right under your seat. And you want to make sure to check that plug type before you order any of these products, because if you order the wrong plug type, you're not going to be able to have the flash on the bike, because you're not going to be able to connect to the bike. And now we come to the final question. Do we need to get an air filter if you put an exhaust on the bike? I think if you're putting an exhaust on these bikes, be it a slip-on or a full system, you should get an air filter for it. You don't have to do it, but I think it's a good idea, because don't forget, you're making the bike exhaust the gases better. So it's getting rid of the gases better. And where do those gases come from? It comes from the combustion of the engine bay, which is partly or mostly as a result of the air that it's intaking. And you could optimize that air intake by putting an air filter on there. And there's a reason why if you buy a Ducati Performance exhaust system, it already comes with a Sprint filter P08. And if you want to optimize those power gains, the P08 F185 filter, the race filter is a good option. But just a disclaimer, it's streetable, yes, but if you live in a high pollen area where it's very, very fine dust, because that's what pollen is basically, I recommend just sticking with the P08. Don't go for the P08 F185 unless it's a race-only application or a track-only application. And this question also arises, does the Termi come with an air filter? It used to come with the air filter, it doesn't anymore. It comes with the UpMap when you buy the Termis, but the air filter is no longer included. But again, if you just opt for the P08 filter, it's a great option. It's a lifetime filter. What does that mean? It means that the filter is good forever if you take good care of it. What do you need to do? You never have to wash it. You never have to oil it. It's a dry filter. You take some compressed air, you clean out whatever that's in there of the filter when you change your oil, and you put it back in and you'll be good to go. So now that we went through all of the frequently asked questions around the exhaust systems and the parts that cover the exhaust systems of these two beautiful models that we have over here, if you have any further questions, if you contact one of our Motomillion team members, they'll be more than happy to answer your specific question that you have. But if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Until next time, guys, have a great one.